Good day, my name is Terry Manuel, and this voiceover presentation will be detailing the internship period as well as the project aspect. The purpose of this internship was to equip the students with the necessary knowledge and experience on the practical aspects of biomedical technology. On March 3rd, 3 students were sent to AA Lakis to intern. AA Lakis has evolved into a dynamic and diversified business. Not only do they deal with biomedical equipment, but also food, pharmaceuticals, and even retail sectors. They offer their services to public hospitals, laboratories, and is one of the very few institutions that carry their services into the home. The biomedical team consists of a general manager, department secretary, biomedical engineers, and technicians. However, the equipment chosen to be explained is that of an ultrasound machine. The Philips IE33 echocardiography system is one that features great and extraordinary measurements. Its main function is to process and display data. This is done by using high-frequency sound waves, which results in the production of live internal structure images. Also contained in the system is the high-performance transducers that uses pure wave crystal technology. A clear distinction of how this machine operates is oscillations release mechanical energy in the form of high-frequency sound waves that are transmitted to the body in pulses. As the sound waves travel through the body, they are reflected, refracted, and transmitted as they interact with the body's internal structures. This is then returned by reflecting the sound waves to the transducer, where it is then converted into a voltage. This voltage is then transmitted to the CPU, where the board filters the signal, resulting in the formation of a digital signal. A preventative maintenance check was scheduled for an ultrasound machine. It was reported that the Philips ultrasound machine was not deleting previous data. The checks were done and the device was backed up using a disk. The software was then checked through determining factors such as beeps, sounds, and initializing processes. Troubleshooting was done where it was observed that the data was not being sent, thus resulting in the data not being deleted. The machine only contains a maximum storage of 500 gigs. Therefore, in order for data to be deleted, it must be backed up and stored at all times. From this, an understanding was gained on the DICOM standard, which is the international standard to transmit, store, and process display medical imaging. Concerning the modes of documentation, mainly two types of documentation were used. These documentation consisted of service reports and installation and commissioning documentation. Service reports are very important as it provides all the necessary work and issues at hand on a particular device, and the commissioning form is also of utmost importance as it ensures that all the testing and adjusting was properly executed. Also incorporated is that of a CMMS system. The type of system used is that of the VAI S2K enterprise system. In this system, there are many modules so that a diverse company like AA Lakis can interface with each other. Some other modes of documentation used are that of emails, WhatsApp, and phone calls. Emails were used as a medium to set up meetings, and WhatsApp was used most frequently by mentors, where they send their daily works to be shown to the department's general manager. For the assessment and evaluation component, much was learned during the internship period. Through my time at the program, there were many other courses that were similar in nature. Such courses covered a fair understanding and was beneficial to the internship period. However, stricter measures should have been put in place to allow the first batch of interns to have finished their internship faster. This would have resulted in more time for the second batch of interns, therefore more hands-on experience would have been gained. Lastly, despite its disadvantages, the students were given the opportunity of a lifetime to work with one of the biggest biomedical companies in the Caribbean. This period has really opened my eyes on the practical side of the course. With regards to the project aspect, a respiratory disease is a type of disease that affects the lungs along with other parts of the respiratory system. The disease mostly taken into consideration pertaining to this project is the new and infectious disease coronavirus. Coronavirus is the new respiratory illness that emerged in late 2019. Its symptoms include fever, cough, body pains, and in worst case scenarios, death. By having the proper resources, management, and the proper collaboration of different departments, such a threat can be reduced. In all medical institutions, there are basic equipment that need to be readily available. According to FDA and World Health Organization, those equipment are that of MRIs, CTs, ultrasounds, X-rays, and even the basic equipment like water baths and hospital beds. With regards to Trinidad and Tobago, the biomedical equipment mainly utilized are those of defibrillators, ECGs, vital signs monitors, MRIs, due to these are directly associated with the leading causes of death in the country. However, due to the illness being a respiratory type illness, The main biomedical equipment to be incorporated are that of hospital beds, thermometers, patient monitors, oxygen tankers, concentrators, X-rays, infusion and syringe pumps, ventilators, and a clinical chemical analyzer. Based on the machinery chosen specifically to combat the respiratory type illness, numbers were chosen given on the basis that 15 to 20% of these cases were severe, whereas 80 to 85% of these cases are mild. With respect to the device's specification, it must be ensured that devices chosen fit the specific requirements needed for such patients. An example shown is that of the hospital bed in the picture shown here. Before the installation and commissioning process, there are certain measures that must be put in place in order for the proper functionality of the medical equipment and the facility as a whole. Some of these processes include proper drainage systems, plumbing systems, electrical works, proper shielding, and many more. All of these systems are to be taken properly into consideration to ensure that there are no detrimental effects. Concerning the infection and control, in order to minimize exposure to the general public and healthcare professionals, there must be constant monitoring of those who enter the healthcare facility. There must be wearing of the appropriate mask and protective equipment upon entry. Also, proper hand hygiene is to be implemented at all times. Infectious aerosols can be generated when performing procedures on infected persons. These procedures are to be carefully executed and avoided as much as possible. Specimen collection is also to be done remotely to ensure that there is no transmission of disease. Whereas for phase 2, for this phase, a series of processes and documentations were done. With regards to the tender, a selective tender was done with the form detailing the device's specifications, quantity, and delivery requirements. The method of payment was also addressed to the supplier. This form was then sent out to the chosen suppliers. The form was sent back giving a detailed explanation on the specific type of machines being proposed along with its specifications, the quantity, and the total cost. The type of delivery method was also explained, showing that the equipment would be delivered specifically at the required location. The supplier chosen was then awarded the bid, and a letter of award was administered detailing the specific terms and services. Before the actual installation and commissioning process, there are also a series of steps that needs to be taken into consideration. These are site preparation, organizing lifting equipment, having the appropriate warehouse space, the proper documentation required for installation and commissioning, and lastly, the appropriate training. For all these steps, there are to be proper liaising with the biomedical department staff as well as the supplier staff to ensure and remind them of the specifics that is required. After going through the series of steps for both installation and commissioning processes as shown here, a series of safety and functionality testing is to be executed to ensure that the equipment is functioning at its best. After these checks are done, all the associated information contained per device, such as the manufacturer, supplier, serial numbers, along with the unique ID numbers, is implemented in the department's inventory. The information was then incorporated into the module inventory database. When information is administered into the system, it allows and keeps track of all the necessary checks that need to take place on each equipment. It also attains information not only on specifications, but also location. Therefore, there is no mismanagement and losing track of any equipment. Through the proper implementation of a CMMS system, items are never mismanaged and out of stock. With regards to training, end-user training is very important for the implementation of a successful devices systems operation. By having end-user training, persons will feel more confident using it. Technical training is also important as it allows training to be done in a variety of ways, such as one-on-one training, self-training, and many more. However, with regards to applications training, this is used where the bigger equipment and direct training is not made available. Video conferencing would be the best option. With regards to the procurement of test equipment, some of these important test devices needed specifically for the devices ordered are that of the Fluke Electrical Safety Analyzer, Medical Gas Flow Analyzer, the Infusion Pump Analyzer. These devices are used to carry out a variety of tests to ensure the proper functionality of equipment. An example being is a Fluke can be used to transform multi-parametric simulation for the patient monitor. This helps to meet the medical devices quality requirements in order to ensure safety of patients. Also, specific personal protective equipment is also needed to ensure that there is proper prevention of the disease. Also, we must have collaboration. In all healthcare institutions, there are a variety of different departments. Some of these departments are the electrical engineering department, the plumbing department, the IT department, and many more. All of these departments work hand in hand and are solely dependent on one another. Teamwork is of extreme importance and enhance communication as well as expand knowledge to help make decisions as a unit. By collaborating as a unit, this greatly reduces the number of medical errors and helps to increase patient safety. Therefore, no one person or a single department is responsible for patient health. Therefore, I've come to the end of my presentation. So thank you.